Hey everyone, welcome to May 2022 LAPPG meeting. We have Frame.io's camera to cloud workflow demo live with Michael Cioni. Super exciting. So unless you were hiding under a rock last year, which actually many of us were, so I'm not surprised if that was the case, but you probably heard about Frame.io joining the Adobe family, and that's super exciting. And we are super excited and couldn't be happier to have some of the team from Frame.io with us tonight. So I want to welcome Senior Director of Global Innovation, Michael Chione, as well as Editor Sarah Katz. And welcome to you guys both. Michael, I dug up, I think you might have seen it on social media, I dug up a photo of you from 2010, the last time. You still look the same. It's really amazing. And it was just, you know what was incredible? I looked at the date of it, and what I remember from that meeting, we were meeting at Stoner Park, and that is, yes, really the name of the park is Stoner Park. And you had this thing, I don't think I really even saw it before. It was called an iPad. And you were going to do the whole presentation using this iPad, and it was April 2010. And I was like, okay, I'm with you on this. And then I just did a lookup, and I looked to see when the iPad came out, and it was April 2010. So just the fact that you were like beyond cutting edge at that time and you're still doing it now is just, it's pretty inspiring. So hats off.
I appreciate that. And you say I look the same. Everything hurts. So it's not the same. It's like once you age, what no one told me when you age is when you like hurt your knee, you're like, well, this is going to hurt for the rest of my life now. I didn't know that that's what aging is. You know, what's funny about that iPad story is that true story. Well, we were doing a movie at that time, and we had started just before the iPad came out. And we started, I was talking to the post-production supervisor, and I said, look, I know you start shooting, but in a month, the iPad comes out, and they were shooting in Mexico. And I said, I'm going to ship you down some iPads, and you're going to watch your dailies on an iPad. We're going to build an app as soon as we actually can build one and give you an iPad daily solution. And her answer to me was, why would any filmmaker ever use an iPad to watch dailies? And I realized at that point that her and I were not from the same planet, right? And so she didn't come back as a customer of Light Iron at that time, shocker. But this is this is a great group. What you are doing is creating an environment for early adopters. And I can't believe you told that story, because I've been fishing for a slide that I'm going to find and put at the end of this, because what I was actually going to end with this, but you set it up so well. What groups like this enable, and what people that are watching here enable, is they enable innovations to take hold, right? Early adopters they're the most important aspect of this. Even though they're a small portion of the market, they are what sort of ignites change. And so a mentor of mine, Leon Silverman, says you always have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's what early adoption is all about. Whether it's an iPad or what we're going to do, camera to cloud, where everyone here is going to get to participate. This is, I love venues like this, and I'm so amazed you have a photo, and thankful to be back.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I'm just going to turn it over to you. You guys have a lot of cool stuff. And just one quick question. How was NAB being back in person, being around all those people? Was it fun, exciting, scary, all the above?
Well, I want to introduce Sarah Katz here, who's going to join me a little later. Sarah, why don't you tell everybody here what you thought NAB meant for what we just did?
It was my first NAB. I've never been before, and it was really amazing to see, hearing from the team who was there in 2019, the people who came over to our booth, and it was 24/7 busy, were very interested and knew about Frame already. So they were already positive and wanting to learn more, and that was a very cool experience to be around people who actually really weren't just wandering past the booth and weren't just like, oh, okay, that looks cool, I'm gonna move on. They're like, tell me more, this is my workflow. How can we integrate? And it was a really cool experience.
Awesome. Awesome. I hope you had comfortable shoes because that one's a bear, NAV. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys run with it. And thank you again for being here.
Thanks, Wendy, and thanks, Woody. This is really great. And again, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for spending your evening or afternoon with us. We're excited and grateful to be able to do that. And we want to sort of set this up by talking about this idea of camera to cloud. And again, I'm going to be here with Sarah Katz. We'll do some demos a little later. And we also have Laura Pursley here, and she's active in the chat. And as you see things here, what Sarah actually said a moment ago was, people applying Frame.io into their workflow. That's what this is all about. I don't want this to be a sales pitch. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we want to do is go over complex cloud-based workflows, but make them so that you can start adding them into your world because they will absolutely rock your world. The amount of improvement that I am personally doing since deploying a full cloud strategy is well over 30% more efficiency. It's probably 50% the efficiency I'm getting. And that's what we want to do. So we're going to do some demos. Laura's there in the chat as well. Sarah can help with the chat. So please ask questions throughout. And if they need to stop me to talk, we can do that. Frame.io, if you don't know, we are a collaboration platform. We are a review and approval and collaboration layer that powers the world's video creators. And we're on the web, we're on iPad and iOS. And our system is extremely anchored in security so that if you're working with clients that require security clearances, this is the shields that we have, which virtually everyone in the media and entertainment business will honor. And we have opportunities for people to dig deeper if you need, but we are secure. That actually allows us to become really popular with a lot of customers. And so we have a lot of people that use us, and it's growing really crazy. A few years ago, maybe you didn't hear too much about Frame.io. Maybe you're hearing a lot about us now. Part of the reason is sometimes 5,000 to 6,000 people a week are signing up for Frame.io. Almost 1,000 people a day worldwide are signing up for Frame.io. So now we have over 2 million users globally. And, it allows people to have millions of views and millions of uploads and millions of comments, which is eliminating email, text messages, and it's just accelerating the creative process. And Camera to Cloud is going to allow us to do that even better. And Camera to Cloud is a component of Frame.io. And if you have a Frame.io account, a paid Frame.io account, Camera to Cloud's free. You already have it. And there are tools out there that you can start connecting to the cloud already. So this is something that is easily activated if you have a Frame.io account. Even better, if you have an Adobe Creative Cloud account. And that means now you have a free Frame.io account because now Frame.io is free with Adobe Creative Cloud. So these are options, and we want to talk about how to elevate collaboration at a new level. And this is something that's really important to me to think about, like boosting production teamwork, because we want everybody's teamwork to improve. If you're a team of one, what I'm going to show you is going to be beneficial to you for speed. If you work by yourself, then speed is one of the best things that you can accelerate. But if you have teams of 2 or more, what we're going to show you is about boosting production teamwork. And there are 3 points that we're going to hopefully demonstrate. And hold us to this. It's centralization. The key to the cloud is really more about centralization. I don't have speed listed in my list here. It's really about centralizing all the assets, picture, sound, metadata, documents, right? All those attributes are about centralizing so they can be found together. No more email attachments, no more Dropboxes, no more text messages or AirDrop. Centralized permanently in a cloud source. Second is notifications. When you do something, when you change something, when you feel something, when you want to make a note about something, when you want to deliver something or re-deliver it or change it or update it, you need to be notified, and you need to notify your stakeholders. We are really good, almost to a point of annoyance, by the way, of notification. No one will complain, I didn't know I got it. No one will have to follow up with an email. You know that funny sensation where you have to you email someone and then you text them, just sent you an email. What is that? It's confirmation because you don't know the notification was received, and that's problematic. We've solved that, and notification is a big thing. And then the last is notations. What's a notation? A notation or a comment or an annotation is timecode accurate moments right on the frame. You can make a note on a PDF, a photo, or a video asset or a sound asset, And that you can be notating what you're thinking or feeling or want to happen in that moment. You can draw on the screen, you can point to things, and it allows there to be high resolution commentary, high resolution collaboration and communication. These are the things that I've learned to deploy at Frame.io, and our team has been innovating. Our entire engineering team is building so centralization notifications and notations are better for everyone. And so the thing that we announced about a year ago and now continues to grow is camera to cloud, or we call C2C. Camera to cloud is this, accelerometer to making things happen quicker. But why does the world really need things to be just faster? Well, there are three really easy ways to understand why you need camera to cloud. The first is cookies. See, when someone's baking cookies, one of the things that happens is you start to smell it before you can taste it. And then you keep looking at the oven like 15 times while they're cooking. And then when they finally come out, probably not even cooked all the way, you put them out and you just burn your tongue trying to taste it. Why does all that happen? Because humans are really impatient things, right? We don't like to wait for anything. And if we don't want to wait for cookies, then we don't want to wait for our footage either, right? Think about lines at Disneyland. We don't want to wait for that. When I'm in the line at Disneyland, first of all, I can't be spending more money at Disneyland, but I also am just anticipating and I can't wait to get on the ride. And it's frustrating to do that. And all the problems happen in line and all the problems melt away once you get on the ride. The same reason is why we shouldn't involve FedEx in our production pipeline. If you're waiting for footage because it needs to be shipped, you're inhibiting the creative process. And if you think about it, for the last century, whether it was film, tape, or files and hard drives, we've still had to wait for the physical world to deliver assets. Now, even if you're across town, that takes some amount of time because you have to wait for them to get the card out of the camera, download the card, back it up, put it on a drive, and drive it. You're still hours behind. But if you're out of state, out of the time zone, out of the country, then that just compounds more and more. What camera to cloud essentially is it takes this universal backbone, camera and picture, transferring, downloading, shipping, sending it to the lab. Maybe you are your own lab, but you have to prepare your footage and then you can activate the editor. This is what basically everybody does when they work. And what we're having right here is we are taking camera to cloud, takes picture and sound and delivers it immediately, instantly, right to the editor. And now all of a sudden, if you think about it, we're connecting little red record buttons to timelines. And that's what everybody's wanted all along. We just want a director and a DP and people on set to just get to the cutting room. And the cutting room can be wherever it's convenient for the editor. But they no longer have to wait for transferring and shipping and preparation in order to be activated. Now, how realistic is this going to be? Well, I'll tell you, over the next 10 years, it is essentially a technological certainty that we will be a completely cloud-based infrastructure. In other words, today, you're shipping media on a disk. You usually download off cards, you put it on a drive, and you get it to someone to start backing up and editing with later. That's how we do it today. By the year 2031, not only will we use the cloud for all the transmission of assets, cameras won't even have removable media in 2031. Think about your phone. Your phone today, the easiest way to get things off of it is to email it or post it on Instagram, right? It's kind of hard to get things off your phone because there's no hard drive. It's kind of hard to get things off your phone without the cloud, right? The cloud is the easiest way to get things off your phone. And when it comes down to removable storage, cameras will behave like a giant iPhone in a way, or Android, where you're just shooting to caches. There's an internal cache, and then we'll publish that cache to the cloud. And 10 years from now, cloud abilities to connect are going to be everywhere. So that means over the next decade, all of us will go through this transition. You get to ask yourself, am I going to transition to the cloud early? Because you can start today and be an early adopter. You're going to wait to the middle, the conservatives and the pragmatists that kind of adopt in the middle, or you're going to be like a Luddite, the people that still, hold on to vinyl. There's nothing wrong with the delay in being last to this race. It's okay. We know that everyone with the different teams, their different preferred workflows, you're going to adopt this workflow eventually, and you're going to do it at your own pace. But the point is, it's going to happen. Arguing or debating whether or not cloud collaboration, cloud acquisition is going to be a thing, that's the fool's errand. And so what we're trying to do is build a workflow, a bridge that gets people, even if it's a hybrid workflow, it's an opportunity to start shooting to the cloud and editing in the cloud or near the cloud, using the cloud to instantly transmit things today. That's what this is all about. A year ago, we started with those two logos in the middle, Teradek and Sound Devices. Now we have all these groups that joined our C2C Connections program. C2C Connections are tools that you use that can now publish their assets directly into Frame.io. That's what makes this work. Frame.io and Adobe are not going to build every tool that you need. That's impossible, and that's not our mission. But what the C2C Connections mission does do is that it promises to produce the opportunity for every product out there, hardware or software, to be able to transmit their assets, whatever they are, video, audio, documents, metadata. All of that information can publish and centralize itself automatically to Frame.io, where it can be distributed to the next person in the chain of custody. That's what we've invented. That's what we are perfecting. And that's what's activating such a cloud movement towards expediting this process. And this is just the beginning. We actually have something like 40 companies in the works right now that are building camera to cloud connections. So the amount of tools a year from now is going to be huge. So if you don't see a tool you prefer today right here, you might see your tool soon. Or go to the tools that you prefer and tell them, I want you to be a C2C connection and connect into Frame.io. That's what we really love to do and make it happen. There is one tool that I hope we have time to demonstrate before we end, which is Apple TV. This is new, and it's only for enterprise customers. Our highest tier at Frame.io is enterprise, and we now have an Apple TV experience, which is really great. And the reason I just want to pause on this is because when it comes to, I used to own a post house called Light Iron. One of the worst things that could happen at Light Iron is a cinematographer or a director saying, I watched my film at home, and it didn't look the same as it did when we were here at Light Iron. Well, one of the reasons that can happen is because people's home setups aren't ideal, or you couldn't really control broadcast quality outputs and things like that. What's happening now with the streaming services is the output and the delivery to the home is higher quality than ever. And now with Frame.io for Apple TV, you can essentially replicate or mirror how your image is going to look when it's ultimately distributed through the same platforms. So you can look at a 4K HDR H.265 file on your 4K HDR TV and actually know that it looks exactly as you expected before you have to finish it. So it's a really cool opportunity, and hopefully we'll show how that works here. But now I want to change to actually showing what we're going to actually demonstrate, which is camera to cloud for everyone. An opportunity to really take the ultimate form of collaboration and give it to every single creative. We're doing this with 3 new partners. Filmic Pro is the first partner, which Filmic Pro is for Android and iOS, and we'll dive in a second. The second one is Atomos Ninja Connect, and I heard Wendy talk about Atomos as a great sponsor. And then the third is Teradek Surf 4K. What you're seeing right here is actually a picture of influencer and iPhone preferred people, mirrorless and HDMI cameras, and cinema cameras. This basically means every product out there can shoot to the cloud. Prefer a phone, prefer a mirrorless, or prefer cinema style, all of those now have camera to cloud connections, and we are capturing hundreds of cameras worth of images into the cloud. So let's jump into Filmic Pro a little bit closer here. Filmic Pro is $15, and you have to buy the cinematographer bundle for $15. The cinematographer's kit is another $15. So $30, which sounds like a lot for a cup of coffee, but when it comes to cinema, it's really nothing. So this is really, really cool. And it connects your Filmic Pro phone directly to Frame.io, and now you can shoot directly into Frame.io, and you can shoot a 10-bit 4K file and transmit a proxy in 720, 1080 low quality, or 1080 high quality, which is 10 megabits. So you're using Wi-Fi or cell to move these files instantly over the cloud. So that's a really cool way to make Android and iOS work. The next one is Atomos Ninja. The Ninja is really cool, but now it has a device called the Kinect, and the Kinect goes on the back of a Ninja. So it's an accessory, and that means you can have a Ninja monitor that's 5 years old, and you can now turn it into a cloud device. The Ninja in this photo is the monitor on top of that camera. That's a Sony A7. And the module is the little antennas coming out of the Ninja. So now when you record on your Ninja, it'll transmit an H.265 file right into Frame.io, and you can do that over HDMI And you will eventually be able to do it over SDI as well. So this takes a monitor and turns it into a cloud device. And then the third one here is the cinema style, which is the Teradek Surf 4K. Now the Teradek is that little box in the back of the camera. That's a Panavision DXL. And the back there where you see the antennas is the Surf 4K. This is a new H.265 4K HDR 10-bit 422 encoder that transmits to the cloud. I know there was a lot of three-letter acronyms in there. I apologize. But what that means is you can shoot super high fidelity files. They're maybe not even be considered proxy files. Colin McDonald at Teradek actually says, we just call these recordings now, because a 4K 10-bit 422 H.265 file at 45 megabits per second, that might be your hero file. And if that's the case, it's not a proxy anymore, it's a recording. So the opportunity here is to do cinema and mirrorless and phones and connect them all through an identical workflow that's secure for everyone. So why talk about it? We want to actually do it. And in order to do it, what's going to happen, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. The camera that I'm using on Zoom right now is a red helium. And I actually have one of our other partners, which is a Sound Devices 888, which is an audio recorder. So I'm actually going to be doing dual system sound to show how hard it can be. And so I have a video camera here, and I have a separate audio microphone here. Now I'm going to be shooting in my house. Sarah's in her home, and we're actually going to make this available for everyone to participate in as well, because we want to show what true collaboration is all about. So in order to do this, I'm going to hit record on my camera. Record on sound. This is Michael coming from his home in Los Angeles, California, sending a clip to Sarah in her home in Adobe Premiere, cutting now. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to share her screen, and she's going to show you Premiere, and take it away, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. So let me dive into Premiere over here. All right, so if you are already familiar with Frame.io, this is going to basically mirror the web browser version. So it should look familiar. And now that we're part of Adobe, you can actually just go down to Window and add Review with Frame.io. You don't have to download anything separate. It's right here. It's ready for you. And you can move it to any panel that feels convenient for you. Just like on the web browser, you can surf through your projects over here. You can add team members to the project. You could do it in a list view or like so. And the way that these devices send us the files is a very locked folder structure, and they go by date. So you're very organized. You can go back weeks, months, years later, and it's all good to go. Sorry, Michael, doing your thing that was distracting. So let's look into today's folder. And we have 3 folders in here: video, audio, and AV Sync. I'll get to AV Sync in a moment, but I am going to download these 4 video clips. Number 1 is what we saw just before.
This is Michael coming from his home in Los Angeles, California, sending a clip to Sarah in her home in Adobe Premiere.
So that was immediate. So I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to download. I'm going to import the 5 files. If I were to just download them, it would put them in a bin that I could direct it towards. But I'm going to download the original files, and it's going to ask for where. I already have a preset spot for it. And now they're all going to download straight into my bin. Beautiful. All right. At the same time, I'm going to go back because I want to grab the audio. And here are my 5 audio takes, and I'm going to do the same thing. Yes, on a regular day, I'd be a little more organized, but for the purposes of this presentation, let's rock and roll. All right, so if anyone's familiar with making multicam sequences, I'm gonna take all of these together. I'm gonna create a multicam sequence. I'm gonna do it by time code, and let's see what we've got. Look at that, they're all synced up, ready to go.
Record on sound. This is Michael coming from his home in Los Angeles, California.
Beautiful. So I'm going to take all these clips and bring them here onto a timeline. Great. And I would like to create an upload of this edit. And in the middle, I am going to put a comment that says, all right, I could do a comment based on a marker. So from Sarah, do we need take for or lose it. And I could communicate here instead of having to go into Frame.io itself. So, okay, and how am I gonna make that possible? So I made my in and out points. I'm gonna go back to my Frame.io browser. I am going to go back to this folder and create a new folder called Cuts and upload directly there because I want to stay organized. Who doesn't? So I am going to click this upload button. This is an active sequence that I have right now, so active sequence. I'm going to rename this as Sarah's edit, and I want to keep this web 1080, but you have all the different choices. If you wanted to upload final, you have ProRes, you have all the choices. I am actually going to do from in to out. You can do the whole sequence, you could do just the work area. I'm someone who likes to use the back of the timeline to experiment, so I always choose from in to out. And what's super important is I want to export markers as comments. And then I want to figure out where I would like to put this. So I am going to put this here, just for saving time, and I want to keep a rendered file. You don't have to. If you are testing something out for somebody and you don't want to waste space on your drive, you don't have to have this clicked. So, and I'm going to get to auto version in a minute. So I'm going to upload this sequence. And it is opening Media Encoder in the background in order to get this up and rolling.
So what Sarah's demonstrating here is taking my assets, and I actually put a dailies link in the chat. So you can actually click on that and it'll take you right there. And hopefully, it'd be great if you put in the chat that you got the dailies files. You could actually take a look at those files instantly and have them, you should be able to see them. Plus, you can also tell what they kind of look like. I'm going to put a different link in here. This is sort of a different display, same assets. Here you can see a different display. Are those the files were uploaded, full quality files? How did it upload so fast? Because these are proxies. They're H.265 10-bit 422. So they're not ProRes, they're not R3Ds. What's happening is these are H.265 files, right? That's the whole point, Zach. Yeah, that's what's happening, Zach, is the Teradek Cube or the Filmic Pro or the Atomos Ninja, whichever one you work with, is basically making an instant daily, an instant transcode, and transmitting the transcode. But it's transcoding it as you're recording, right? So, oh, I'm sorry, we're using the wrong tool. We're not supposed to use it here. Okay, thanks, Woody. Yeah, the whole point is that you are able to move these assets super fast, super easy, and then you can relink them. And now Sarah did an output, and Sarah, I'm actually going to share my screen, I think. So if you let go, I share my screen. I'm back at my screen and I can see Sarah's output. So this is Sarah's cut, and now I have it and I see Sarah made a note here. Take 4, or lose it. I'll say, I'm going to go back to Sarah and say, I'm going to hit reply here and say, let's lose take 4. And so she gets that note. The other thing I can do is actually share it with all of you. So if I share this link, this is now Sarah's edit. So I'll go to the chat again. Let's see here. In the chat, I'm going to put here. If you look in the chat, you can click on that link and you can see Sarah's edit. Now, if you click on that edit, you can make notes as well. And let's see here. I'll say this is take 2, and I'm just going to make it very clear what 2 looks like. That's what 2 looks like. It's very obvious now in case anyone wasn't really sure. That's take 2, and I can save that. Anyone else can come in here and start, making comments. Take 3, take 3. And you could change the color here, and I can draw a box around it, right? These are opportunities for people to make notes. Nice shirt. Whoop, nice shirt. And There we go, right? So this is how people can start collaborating. I see Sean's in here. So Sean's in here. He can start seeing it. He can start making notes, and you know, you can make emojis. I can respond to Sarah with a emoji here like that. So we have this fun little social media experience with what we're doing. So she's made a note. And now maybe some of you are seeing the takes, you're seeing the images, you're seeing the pictures, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then Sarah can actually show the notations traveling back into Premiere. So don't miss this part. Don't miss this part. Let's take a look, Sarah.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So what's super cool is when you click on your video and it has all 7 comments, if you make sure this is clicked, that is what links the comments that are in frame and my comments that were on my timeline together. And I could just easily hover over and I could see all of the markers right here in frame, right? I could continue to hover, continue to hover, continue to hover, right? And then if I wanted to just see my comments, let's say, you know, I don't want to necessarily see the video assets as like this. I'm going to use this download to import these comments, and look at the markers appear. So I can really go, when I click on let's lose take 4, it's gonna bring me straight to take 4. If I wanna click on take 2, it's bringing me straight to take 2, and it even has a little window for me to see the drawings. I love this. Nice shirt, you see the drawings, it brings you exactly there. So now I'm taking Michael's note into effect, and I wanna show that I read it, so I'm gonna like it, and I'm gonna go straight to losing take 4, right here. Delete, tighten this up, mark it as an out because that's how I do mine from in to out. I see there's some more comments populating. That's awesome. And you could even, something that I find useful is some people want to see their newest comments. I'm personally someone who likes to do it by time code. I want it to be in the same order of as the piece. That's my preference, but you have options, you have choices. So I'm gonna go back and I am going to upload this new version. Okay, so I'm going to upload this active sequence, Sarah's edit 2. All of these settings are exactly what I wanted, and by clicking on auto version, something very cool is going to happen.
So why don't I switch to my screen, Sarah, and we'll see it all happen on a remote because we're not together. So I'm going to go back to my screen. And if we go back here, watch what happens here. Do you see this little V2? What happens is Frame.io and Adobe talk to each other, so it knows that the version 2 is actually stacked on top. So it says there was her first edit, here's version 2, and now it's marked with needs review. So you can see there's a little needs review marker there. I can make it a little bigger for you. There you go. So we've got a version stack between 1 and 2. We see it needs review. I can click on that. And now it is able to, I'm able to go from version 1 and version 2. In fact, I can go and compare versions, and if I wanted to, I could actually watch version 1 and version 2 at the same time. So if I kill the audio, you actually have the ability to see and merge and watch versions together. And so what's going to happen is this edit is going to change after take 4 because we made an edit and removed take 4. So now we go to take 3. There it is. And now after I hit cut here, we're going to see the difference. And that's how we know, boom, now they're different, right? 4 fingers, 5 fingers. This is how fast and easy you can do this. This is great for VFX. It's great for version reviews. It's great for color reviews, before and afters, audio reviews, before and afters. And you can see how many notes. There's like a bunch of notes in here, bunch of replies, and it's all centralized and very easy. In fact, what I can do is take this. I'm going to take this final piece and I'm going to share it to myself. And I am going to send this. Whoops, that's not my email. And I'm going to send it to myself. And now we're going to show one more cool thing, which is I'm going to switch this to my Apple TV. So check this out. Here we're going to see Apple TV if it works here. Yeah, look at that. Now we're in Apple TV and I can click on the Frame.io app And what's going to happen here, I can go through all my accounts. I have all these accounts. I could go into any of my accounts. So I'm going to go to my account here, and I'm going to get sort of like an email. And here it says Sarah's edits. This is so that executives and people you want to review your stuff, they don't have to like search through folders. You could just say, I'm going to go to Sarah's edit 2. I'm going to hit play on that, and it's automatically going to start playing back this file. So now I am watching my actual shot in Apple TV, and I can skip around. And if I wanted to go, I had cloud devices here. This is everything we just shot, right? Here's everything we just started shooting, right? So I can go to 511, and I could go into AV Sync, and now I'm going to hit play, and look at this. All the stuff that we edited, I can see everything here. And it's just like I'm going through my dailies, I'm clicking on that, it's going to take me right there, and I can go to the next take, and it'll just play it as a playlist. You're actually watching an Apple TV. This isn't a simulation or an animation. I'm controlling this with the remote. If you can see me, here's the remote. So I have the ability to really have tremendous workflow control here. And what I want everyone to recognize, look at what we just did. We just shot 5 takes on an 8K camera. We instantly made dailies. We recorded 5 separate broadcast wave files, by the way, multi-channel audio wave files. We transmitted them to Frame.io, which automatically delivers them to Premiere. Sarah imported and sunk them, edited them, did an output. We made notes. She did a revision and published a second output, and we delivered it in Apple TV. Plus, all of you got a copy of it. I'm sure everyone here watched it. So you're seeing this crazy new world of collaboration, and it's very different. And the way to say it is really as we sort of were talking. This is all about centralization, notifications, and notations. You saw us centralize all these assets automatically. There's no people behind the curtain. You saw the notifications. We get emails on our phones. We get them on our texts. We get all this stuff. In fact, watch this. If I switch from Apple TV back to my phone, look at my phone. This is my phone home screen. And you can see 6 new comments. Look, someone liked me on Instagram. I'll kill that. You can see there's 6 new comments from Sarah. Sarah, look at, you can see right there. There's Wendy's comment. See these comments? These are the real comments. I'm getting the notifications, and I can click right on Wendy's comment, and it'll take me right to that asset, right on her time-coded comment. And I will like that, Wendy, because it's all that possible, right? This is totally all about boosting your production teamwork through this process. Look, we're going to have a little bit of time for Q&A, but before we get into that, I want you to know that we do have training resources out there. There is a web series we made called Frame.io training, Frame.io/C2C-training. There's 13 episodes that take you through the Camera to Cloud process. If you use Premiere, there's information in there. If you use ColorFront, Resolve, Final Cut, there's information in there for you as well. So take a look at that, and you can kind of look at which episodes or watch them all. Avid's in there as well. Didn't mean to leave them out. So there are opportunities for really good discussion. We also have great support articles. So if you go to support.frame.io and you type in C2C, there's all sorts of stuff. You could type in C2C authentication or C2C Teradek or C2C Atomos or Ninja or whatever. It'll help you really figure that out. Relinking, all of that stuff. Dailies, that will really help you go through all that. And we'll probably come back to this slide, but I want you to know that we are here. Our emails are here because we like to help people, and we don't want to disappear because the panel ends. We want to be useful, and we want people to know that this is hard, this is new, this is different. But you've done this before. You've been the first to digital cinema. I mean, many of us were here for the DV cam, period and things like that. You were new to this HD world, the 4K world, the file-based world, HDR. This is new again, and we need early adopters. And that's why I like Wendy's story at the beginning about the iPad 12 years ago. It's about early adopters, and if we can get help with early adoption, we can make this really work, and we're available through these channels. So, Laura, what have we done? Did we get engagement? Do we have questions, or did we fall flat?
Thanks, Michael. That was a fantastic demo. And yes, we did get a handful of questions. So we have an anonymous attendee that has a couple different questions about the workflow when it comes to proxy versus the full source files. So I'm going to string out a few of these, and then I think that you can address all of the aspects of that workflow. So should we still make hard copy backups? Does the Teradek also upload full quality files somewhere else? And once the full quality files are available, how do you link them back? And how does that work in Premiere?
Right. So what I could show you is that these proxies are very intelligent. So if we look at a proxy here, there's two components here. Here you can see the actual time code. I shot this at 4:34 today, and the clip name is the red camera clip name. So you have the ingredients in the metadata here to relink this. So you edit this file, it has matching time code and clip name, sometimes called tape name. And that's what your EDL or XML is gonna require to relink. So Sarah knows this. Sarah edits for Frame.io full time. We never deliver her a hard drive. She's never received a hard drive. We've never given her a hard drive. She edits everything we do, and everything is delivered via the cloud, camera to cloud. And then another person, Vince, he onlines it to the 8K raw files. And he just uses Sarah's Premiere timeline, and then he onlines it in Premiere and sends it to Resolve for color correction. And you can relink these files because they have matching time code. The same thing is true with the audio files. If we went back and looked at the audio files, we have the time code in the audio files, and these are broadcast wave files. So if you look at this, it says BW, it says wave. This is a wave file, a multi-channel audio wave file. So you can relink, and I believe in our slides here, we actually have relinking workflows in the training series. So check that out and go to the support pages and look for the tool that you use and read up on the relinking workflow. You can do it with every NLE.
Thank you. And then a different question is about commenting and groups. And what if you've got comments for like one kind of user, a producer, they get to make certain notes, but then coordinators have different access. Can you show us in Frame.io how that works?
Yeah, that's actually a good point, and it comes up a lot. So the easiest way to do that is if I make a project called Producers, sorry for the misspelling, and then one for the other peeps, whatever it is, what I can easily do is take my output. So I'll just go back to where Sarah did her output. Here's Sarah's cuts, and I can put that in Producers, and I can put that in the other peeps. And now I can control who has permission. I could say Producers is going to be private. And now watch what happens. There's a lock on there. Only specific people can get inside this folder. It won't even show up to the other people. And then the other peeps, they can have access to it. And then you can independently manage notations based on who has access to it. Or you could send Producers, when you send things out, you could decide, let's not let anyone comment or approve it. And let's not show any versions. And let's put a passphrase on it and expire the date tomorrow. You could do that as well. So you can control who has access and how long. And you can also require the link to be invite only. That means I'd have to, I'd have to invite Sarah to this to be able to see it. So I can control it through all these different ways. I just showed you 3 different ways you can kind of govern who has access to things and who doesn't. And the last thing I'll show you, check this out, one more trick here. If I go to the review link I just sent that you see, this is my review link library. You can see it says cuts. I sent this at 4:54. I could go in and actually go to the settings and change it. And so I could say, you know what, I'm gonna do it public, and I'm gonna also send it to Laura. So I can change things. I don't have to make a new link. I can just change it. And if I don't want them to have it, I can just turn the link off, and now it's dead. So I just killed that link, and I can see how many people have watched it. The little tricks like that are really powerful ways to manage who sees what. And there is really no other tool out there that's gonna go there's no other tool that can do what we just did. That's pretty obvious. We are years ahead of other tools, like years. There are millions of lines of code going into this technology, and our engineering team and our company are really trying to listen to user cases, and we have a really strong user insights team that helps influence how we work. And that's why all these little tricks I just showed you are there, because you told us to do them.
So John is asking if you can demonstrate sending us a link or a QR code where we can see a file for a review on our smartphones, like you did at NAB. So we popped some links in the chat here, but do you want to put the QR code up on the screen?
Sure. Here it is. There's a QR code. You can click on that QR code. And once you click on that, sorry for moving it, it will open up your phone and it'll probably give you something like this. It'll say watch now. You can click the watch now and it'll take you right to the cloud directory, the AV sync files, I think is what I set this to. And now that's another way to deliver dailies very quickly and easily. Someone should just like let us know that that worked so that I know it worked, but I'm assuming it did, and that you're able to look at the files through that avenue.
And then what is the minimum upload speed required for 4K HEVC proxies to upload from the camera?
I'll show you a little secret behind the curtain. This is me talking to the Serve device. And I have the Serve device set to 5 megabits, which is 5,000 kilobytes. So you can see here, I can set this really high or really low. What I tell people is if you're between 3 and 5 megabits, it's gonna look great. And that means your upload speed needs to be above 3 megabits per second in order. So I just set it to 3 megs. So let me do this. I'm gonna shoot a new take. This is 6, this is take 6. So in a few minutes, actually in a few seconds, you're gonna get a take 6 in the review links that I already sent you. So you should already have those. You're gonna get take 6. This take 6 is 3 megabits. Now that means you only need an upload speed of 3 megabits per second to be real time. So a 2-minute take will take 2 minutes to upload if you only have 3 megabits. If you have 10 megabits, a 2-minute take will upload in 30 seconds, right? So if you basically if you have more upload speed, your files will go faster. If you have poor upload speed, just lower the quality. But you can see it's probably done by about now. If you hit refresh on your phone, you should be able to see take 6 and you can look at it in 3 megabits. If that quality is good enough for you, a 60-minute interview will upload in about 5 minutes at this quality at a 10 megabit upload. It's really fast.
And then Zachary asked a question, but he's kind of answering it himself. Why isn't this adopted by everyone? Zach says, I'm excited about this tech, but I'm also genuinely curious. What are people's main hesitations with joining? Just because they're already used to a specific workflow and have reservations about change?
Yeah, Zachary, that's the problem with everything, right? Like people are just stuck in their ways. And so, yeah, unfortunately, this is new and new things scare people. Look, when you're putting your work on the line, you got to trust the tech behind it. And it takes time to gain that trust. We are new. We understand that. We accept that. That's why we need early adopters like you to join it, push it through and learn it. It's not perfect. Shooting in the cloud using cell phone technologies is not a perfect solution, but it's one that we all learn and we get more comfortable. We build muscle. And then when you learn all the little tricks and stuff, you get really confident. And then it becomes a standard. We are gonna go from a fad to a trend to a standard. That's what's gonna happen. Right now, we're just a fad, but we're gonna transition to trend and we'll be very trendy very soon. I can feel it. And then it'll become a standard. And when it becomes a standard, people that are early adopters are experts out of the gate.
I just wanna make sure everybody's very clear. If you have Creative Cloud, they can look for this, correct?
That's right. The Creative Cloud users, if you have a paid Creative Cloud, Frame.io is now, actually I'll share one more time, in Premiere. Here I am in Premiere. And if I go to my Premiere here, I can see Frame.io is now inside of Premiere. It's just part of it, just one of the window choices. So you have that for free. You have to sign up, but it's free because you already signed up for Creative Cloud.
This is an amazing presentation, Michael. You blew us away. I saw it firsthand. It really happened. It wasn't just magic behind the curtain. It really happened. We did see it. And I can't thank you enough. I know people are going to have more questions. Do you mind quickly putting up that slide with everybody's contact information real quick? And we'll just make sure people can reach out to you guys. And in the meantime, I want to thank you, Michael and Sarah and Laura, all for such an amazing presentation. Thank you for bringing this to LAPPG. And be sure to connect with us. We're on Facebook and we're on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Use hashtag LAPPG. Follow us, we will follow you. And a huge thank you to all of our partners, our Platinum AJA partner, and our Gold partners, Adobe, Blackmagic Design, OWC, Zeiss, Frame.io, and Adobe Company. And Silver partner, Isotope, SGO, Reduct, Teradek, and Small HD. Plus our supporting media and community partners. We do appreciate all of their support to help us continue these monthly meetings. All right, everybody, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Michael, Sarah, and Laura, and we will see you guys next month. Have a good evening, everybody.